Hey guys, Bobby Thompson back with another video, and in this video we're going to talk about Hollywood hints. So if you are a true earth researcher and you believe that the powers that be hide truth in plain sight, you may enjoy some of the content in this video. So without further ado, let's jump into it. In 1968, there was a movie called The Party, and you can clearly see on this elephant's forehead, the world is flat. In 1971, Diamonds Are Forever, James Bond Agent 007 bursts onto the set of the filming of the moon landings. If you're around in the 80s, you might remember a television series called V. This character apparently has what appears to be a flat earth model, and you have the firmament with the stars, the constellations on the firmament, and you have the sun and moon circling inside the firmament. The Addams Family in 1991, down in the vault room, has what is clearly the Flammarion engraving painted on the wall. And if you're familiar with the Flammarion engraving, it is a flat earth representation with a firmament and the sun and moon and stars inside the firmament and the outer workings on the outside. This guy's peered through the firmament. In 2022, Netflix released the Pentaverte, and these characters are clearly at a flat earth convention of some type. Breaking Bad Season 2, Episode 13, we get this piece of audio.
What?
Right before your surgery, I asked if you had packed your cell phone, and you said, which one?
When? Skylar, I was medicated. I mean, I could have said the world was flat.
You know what I think? I think you accidentally told the truth.
I think he accidentally told the truth too. Interestingly, these are all before the big surge in flat earth, right? Before the 2015 mass awakening, if you will. So this was just a running joke between them, if you ask me. In plenty of shows, it was openly a running joke. In 1998, you had the Truman Show, which was a domed city. Truman didn't realize he lived in this city. He was the star of a show, and eventually he faced his fears and made it to the edge of the dome, if you will, and was able to exit. But this clip comes from The Office, Season 8, Episode 22. Let's hear what he has to say.
And the hero, who is that based on?
Me, I guess. We're flying so high, we're cracking the sky. Gonna fly out of this dome, my girlfriend and I.
Now that is some weird stuff to say, right? Like, this is 2012, and this guy's saying, we're flying so high, we're cracking the sky. Gonna fly out of this dome, my girlfriend and I. I mean, it's mighty, it just sounds like gibberish, right? Like everyone's like, what the, it's funny because this guy's making no sense at all, unless you're a true earther and it makes total sense. Ryan Reynolds in Just Friends. Let's see what he has to say.
It's cold out here.
Yeah, it is. It's like the South Pole.
It's like the deep South Pole, if there was one. There isn't, though.
I agree with you. I'm not going to play this one because I never figured out what was the name of the television show, but they were talking about how flat earth was hidden. If you're a fan of Westworld, the Season 3 intro had this. A city with a dome. Under the Dome, 2013 to 2015, there was a city with a dome over it, and you had a similar thing going on in the Hunger Games, Catching Fire, 2013.
Just get away from that tree!
There was a movie called Capricorn One that was released in 1977, and the premise of the movie was they were faking a mission to Mars, right? So there's the interesting backstory about this was that the guy who wrote it was adamant that the moon landings were faked, and he tried to sell this story using the moon landings, right? And someone else picked up the story several years later after he failed to get anyone to pick it up, anyone to produce it. But they changed it to faking a mission to Mars, and then it got picked up, right? Because it was just too taboo to have a movie about faking a mission to the moon, right? It made too much sense. You had a similar movie come out in 2016 called Moonwalkers, where this is 1960s London. An unstable CIA agent is forced to work with a shabby rock band manager to develop the biggest scam ever to stage the moon landings, with or without the help of legendary filmmaker Stanley Kubrick. So there's a lot of true earthers, flat earthers, whatever you want to call them, that believe that Stanley Kubrick filmed the moon landings using the techniques he used on 2001: A Space Odyssey. And 2016 Operation Avalanche, which is another movie that has faking the moon landing in it. This clip comes from, this was a trailer for The Bad Batch, which came out in 2016 with just Jim Carrey, Jason Momoa, Keanu Reeves, Giovanni Ribisi, Suki Waterhouse. Just had an absolute all-star cast. And we're not going to watch the whole thing, but it does have more than what I'm going to point out in it. If we go to, where's my little bar to, crap. Look, if you look at his hat, it's a NASA hat.
Over there. There was a kid was with her.
So this guy, Jim Carrey, that's Jim Carrey in case you didn't notice. He has a NASA hat on, right? And then if we go to 417 in, Jason Momoa's character tells this guy, I don't know anything. I'm lost. So that could mean several things, right? That's a double entendre there, right? And Jim Carrey brings him an answer. Let's see what he gives him. He gives him a snow globe, right? So just interesting that the trailer of this film, you know, Jim Carrey's got a NASA hat on, and this guy, Jason Momoa, says, I'm lost, I don't know anything, and this guy gives him a snow globe, right? Like, well, some people also point to the fact that at 2:55 in here, Jim Carrey's character catches and kills a raven, and some people think that's a reference to Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. I haven't read the book, so I can't make the correlation. Interstellar 2014, we get
I
this.
always love the pictures.
It's an old federal textbook. We've replaced them with the corrected versions,
Corrected.
explaining how the Apollo missions were fake to bankrupt the Soviet Union.
So interesting, there's some truth there. And what's really interesting, and I just thought this would kind of fit to throw in here, is this is something Matthew McConaughey said on the Joe Rogan Experience.
They lowered down to eye level things that I was looking up at. And all the things that I was patronizing and condescending and going, oh, sloughing off, that's not worthy of me. They rose up to eye level. And I remember saying, boy, the world is flat. I'm looking it in the eye. I see further, I see wider, I see clearer. I've got to take ownership.
That's interesting, because he said the world is flat, and he said, I see farther, I see wider, I see clearer. He goes on to describe a flat earth. Now, he used it in a sense where he's talking about everyone's equal, right? That's an odd way to say everyone's equal, right? The world is flat. They're always doing this. They're always using these this verbiage in a way that makes no sense, but it does to them and it does to us if you're a true earther. So I'm not going to play this because it's 30 minutes long, but if you have access to YouTube, I really highly recommend watching the Newsbenders. You can just search for the Newsbenders. And they go on to show how the news they write the news, and wars and moon landings, and it's all just fabricated. And I think it's a absolute truth. Personally, I believe that all news 99% of news is faked. It's just a script. In 1977 and 1978, there was a series called Logan's Run, and survivors of a nuclear war live within a domed city, sealed off from the outside world. And they released a movie in 76. You can see the kind of the domed city. 1984 by George Orwell came out in 1949, and this is an interesting thing that was this isn't in the movie, but it is in the book. So it says, "What are the stars?" said O'Brien indifferently. "They are bits of fire a few kilometers away. We could reach them if we wanted to, or we could blot them out. The Earth is the center of the universe. The sun and the stars go around it." For certain purposes, of course, that is not true. When we navigate the ocean, or when we predict an eclipse, we often find it convenient to assume that the Earth goes around the sun and that the stars are millions upon millions of kilometers away. But what of it? Do you suppose that it is beyond us to produce a dual system of astronomy? The stars can be near or distant according to as we need them. Do you suppose our mathematicians are unequal to that? Have you forgotten doublethink? So this is eerily similar to what Edwin Hubble said about the dual coordinate system. And they said they choose the heliocentric model purely on philosophical grounds. Sounds like George Orwell and Edwin Hubble have been having dinners together. This clip comes from Sesame Street, season 49, episode 11.
Oh, now surely this is the right spot. Look at this. This area is filled with books about pretend people.
That's right, Grover. This is the fiction section. Fiction means it's a made-up story. Oh, hey, Elmo, I bet we can find your Galactic Gale comic book here.
Real appropriate place to place the globe. What are the odds? The globe and the rocket, and they just put them right above fiction, because space travel's fake and the globe is fake. So The Simpsons, season 24, episode 6.
Pictures, steroids,
from
Santa
2012.
Claus, kicks and deals. It's a long fly ball going back. And the ball shatters the sky, bringing the ocean itself down into the stadium. Oh, Simpson just broke this dream's reality wide open.
And in the Simpsons movie in 2007, it's, another similar situation going on. Minions 2015, they end up crossing over the set of the moon landings again. And I'm guessing this is Stanley Kubrick. I wouldn't doubt it. And these all come from Pixar, which is really interesting, is that we're going to start with this by Knick Knack, or by Pixar. They made this little short called Knick Knack. Don't worry, it's worth the watch. So this was, I think, one of the first things Pixar had ever made. And I'll be surprised if it makes it in the video because it's now on Disney. So you have this snowman living in a snow globe, right? And he wants to get out of this. He wants to get out of this firmament, if you will. Look at the stars in the background, right? So you got the stars in the snow globe on the firmament. So first he tries cracking the dome, right? We tried that with Operation Dominique and Operation Fishbowl. And then we tried digging, right? Again, reminiscent of Operation Fishbowl and Operation Dominique. He tries to blow up the firmament. Doesn't work. And he's able to get out, and where's he end up? He ends up in water, right? So you have water outside the dome. And some people speculate that's where Atlantis is, outside the dome, outside the firmament. All right, so moving on, let's look at some of every Pixar movie, practically every movie has featured this truck. I'm sure you're familiar with it. It's the Pizza Planet truck, right? So what would a Pizza Planet be? Well, it's a flat Earth, right? Flat Earth is a pizza. So let's, here you have Toy Story from 1995, A Bug's Life, 1998. A Bug's Life, just kind of zoomed in, showing the truck, also 1998. Toy Story 2, 1999. This is from also Toy Story 2. Monsters, Inc., 2001. Almost the same scene as A Bug's Life. It's actually a little bit different. For sure, they used the same, kind of the same model, if you will. Finding Nemo, 2003. Cars, 2006. You see it right there. Ratatouille. It's back in the background. So every single movie. Wall-E, 2008, they're showing you this flat Earth, right? This Pizza Planet, this little hidden Easter egg. Up, 2009, it is here somewhere. Hold on. It's in this scene. I wonder if I cropped it out. I probably cropped it out. But here it is in Up as well. So it's here. It's actually in several different places in Up. Excuse me. So Toy Story 3, they're riding on the back of it. Cars 2, 2011, right there. Even in Brave, right? She's chiseling out of wood. Monsters University, 2013, it's parked right there. Toy Story, That Time Forgot, and it is. Where is that? It must be right. They must have zoomed it in right here. So sorry about that, but it is in there. I think, yeah, this is okay. So that's this street right here in the background. That's this building here. So it's they just zoomed it in. Inside Out, 2015. The Good Dinosaur, 2015, right here. Finding Dory. Cars 3, right here. It's in the like Crash Up Derby. Coco, 2017. It goes driving by his house. The Incredibles 2. They're, I guess, just had a fight or something, and then you have it right there. It's a tattoo on Toy Story 4. It's a tattoo on this guy's leg. Onward 2020, right here in the toll lane. Soul 2020, right there. Turning Red, right there. Let's look in the music industry, right? Eurythmics, Sweet Dreams, came out in 1983. Sweet dreams are made of these. And what's she doing? She's pointing at a globe. She has a globe here, and she says made of this. But yeah, you have a globe. Just very ironic to say right there. Journey, Infinity, 1978. Wheel in the Sky. The wheel in the sky keeps on turning, right? Kansas, the best of Kansas, 1984. You have a flat Earth, right? There's a ship sailing over the end of it. Again, it's a joke, but it has truth in it. Kansas, Point of No Return, had multiple album covers, but again, the flat Earth theme going on. You also have what's arguably a Leviathan, this great serpent, right? And again, this Leviathan. And Kansas, Sail On, the 30th anniversary edition. What's this? Is this an ice wall? Or did they go past the edge of the Earth? I'm not sure what's going on. It's one of those. Kansas, the best of Kansas, Closet Chronicles. This looks like the flood to me, right? It looks like all these people are trying to stay alive. So for me, that's just these all have biblical references. Kansas, the absence of presence, is a YouTube video, and I just thought it interesting that this is the first, the thing you see. It's this Masonic owl. Kansas, the legacy of John Brown. I just think this is a reference to giants, right? And that giants are real. In Imagine Dragons, they have a song called Believer, came out in 2017. And just for a split second, like one frame, you would never see it. Who found this? I have no idea who found it, but someone found it. And this is the flat Earth map in his eyeball. And here you go. Zoomed in on the eyeball and zoomed in on the map. And you can go look at the video, and that's the time you have to go to right there. If you can stop it right there, you'll see this image. Thomas Dolby, The Flat Earth. He had a whole CD titled The Flat Earth. Pink Floyd, Learning to Fly, 1987. As lyrics, it says, "Can't keep my eyes from the circling skies." Red Hot Chili Peppers, we've all heard this one. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Supertramp, Crime of the Century. This is interesting because this is the album cover, right? And that to me is saying space is a prison for your mind, right? Like that's what that represents. Like it's saying space is a prison for your mind. But this is lyrics from one of the songs, and just read this if you get a chance. Now that they're planning the crime of the century, well, what will it be? Read all about their schemes and adventuring. Yes, it's well worth a feat. And you can. This is like you can read their schemes and adventuring because they always share it. They always talk about what they're going to do. They're in books, they're in movies, how they've gone from bad to worse. They're going to rape the universe. Who are these men of lust, greed, and glory? Right, the politicians running this world, and the actors fooling us. Mick Jagger with Dave Grohl did a song called Eazy, Sleazy. It was a surprise release. And listen to these lyrics. And you can read the lyrics right here if you want. So, 1967, the Beatles, Fool on the Hill. It says, "But the fool on the hill sees the sun going down, and the eyes in his head see the world spinning round," right? He's calling you a fool. The fool on the hill sees the sun going down, but the eyes in his head see the world spinning round. I can't play this, and I would have loved to play it. It's a great song. Owl City, Fireflies from 2009. One of the lyrics says, it's actually the chorus, I think. "I'd like to make myself believe that planet Earth turns slowly. It's hard to say that I'd rather stay awake than when I'm asleep because everything is never as it seems." Everything is never as it seems. This is all true right here. I'd like to make myself believe that planet Earth turns slowly. It doesn't. And if you watch this, you could probably pick out 50 things. If you've never seen this video and you don't know about this correlation to flat Earth, the globe is glowing. He's got rockets in there. It's very obvious that there's a lot of hidden truth in this video if you've never seen it. Let's look at the game industry. This is all I had for this. Was Call of Duty Black Ops. If you've never seen that, you have a hanging on the gun. You got a flat Earth with a sun and moon. I don't know if this is on every gun or if it's a special weapon you get, but interesting. Let's get some commercials. This is a Hennessy commercial called the Piccards, which is loosely based on August Picard, right? He took a balloon up like I want to say 10 miles or something. And he said the Earth looked like a disc with turned up edges.
After he goes as far as any man can possibly go.
But in this version, he keeps going higher.
How does his son continue?
And I like how they show an eyeball representing the firmament, and this guy busts through or kind of tears into the firmament, and it's water above. So, if you're not familiar with Room 237, there's a big conspiracy out there. There's a video about it too. If you just you can search for Room 237. They believe that Stanley Kubrick directed Room 230, The Shining. Sorry, directed The Shining as kind of his apology for faking the moon landings. Right. So that is the conspiracy, and I'm sure you've seen The Shining. I don't need to break it down for you, but the 237 would represent 237,000 miles, which would be the mean distance to the moon. And you see references. You see Tang shown in the background, which obviously at that time all the astronauts were drinking Tang. They were sponsoring Tang. And you see, I can't remember this child's actor's name or the character he plays, but he has an Apollo 11 shirt on. And they say that this background here looks like the launch site, right? I didn't put that in here. And maybe this represents the moon. I don't know, possibly. But a lot of the Pixar movies make reference to Room 237, or make reference to The Shining. And like, for example, in Toy Story 1995, you have this almost the identical carpet, right? And in Toy Story 3 in 2010, you see Velocitar 237, right? Like, do you see that 237? Some people would say that's coincidence, and it may be. But then in the same movie, you have Room 237, right, for the license plate. Now that's obviously, now you're getting pretty coincidental. Also in Toy Story 3, you have this monkey sitting on a desk, and over here you have that same pattern on a tissue box. So again, the same pattern. That's obviously a hint to Room 237, to The Shining. And then you have this microphone which Shelley Duvall held and spoke into in The Shining. And at one point in time, you see this camera, H237, Overlook as well. And they in The Shining, they stated it was the Overlook Hotel, right? So these are obvious Easter eggs. There was also Danny's imaginary friend was named Tony in The Shining, and you have this Mr. Tony here. In Toy Story, he was a character in Toy Story. Also in Toy Story 4, it came out in 2019, there was a song called Midnight, the Stars, and You by Ray Noble and his orchestra, and it plays during the shot of black and a white photograph of Jack Torrance with the title Overlook Hotel, July 4th Ball, 1921. In Toy Story 4, keen listeners can hear the same song playing on the record player in the antique shop, which Ukridge and director Josh Cooley threw in as a stand-in during production before falling in love with the creepy reference and deciding to keep it in the film. So Ukridge, I guess he's one of the directors, and a lot of people say he was kind kind of believed in this whole in the theory that, or the conspiracy that The Shining was Kubrick's admission for faking the moon landings. And you also had this scene in Toy Story 4, right, which is eerily reminiscent of Jack Nicholson's character. But if that wasn't enough, again, this is all the same guy. This is all the same director, Unkrich, right? This is from Finding Nemo.
Sorry, you'll have to come back later. We're trying to escape.
Here's Brucey!
So you might remember that as that's from a similar scene in The Shining. And again, Cars on the Road, episode 2, September 8th, 2022. You have the same carpet, and you had these twins in The Shining, right? And they had those little pink bow ties. So a lot of similarities. And you have these constant Easter eggs that point to The Shining and these hints to room 237. So it's not just, they're not just pointing to The Shining. They're pointing to The Shining, but also to this conspiracy, which you can find in a documentary called Room 237. So you constantly see the references to 237 and The Shining. And that's all I got for this video. So hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, take care.